Welcome to Yarn Spotlight, and I'm here with yarn expert Clara Parks to talk about washable wools. Welcome, Clara.
Hey, thank you.
So we don't usually think of washing and wool in the same sentence.
No, we don't. Most people normally, their only experience of wool and washing machine is like they're pulling out socks and a sleeve of something, and then suddenly their hand falls on something that should not have been in the washing machine. And their favorite sweater is now sized to fit a corgi. So, and that happens because wool is an extraordinarily absorbent fiber. You hear people talk about how it can absorb up to 3 times its weight in moisture without feeling wet. I like to consider it the most codependent fiber in the world because, like, if it sees a puddle, it will leap onto that puddle. Like, that's okay, you jump over, I'll be fine. And what happens when it absorbs all that water is the teeny tiny little microscopic scales that line the fiber surface, and we have it in our hair too. They, as the fiber swells, they have nowhere to go, so they just kind of start to pop out. This is the interpretive dance version of felting. So they're popping out, and then if you put them in hot, soapy water, and you turn on the washing machine, and the agitation happens, all of those little ends start to get enmeshed with all the other ends, to the point where you have an irreversibly enmeshed piece of fabric.
And that's a felted.
Yes.
Which sometimes we want to do on purpose.
Absolutely, it can be beautiful, and people have been doing that for centuries. But sometimes if you put a lot of care into a sweater that you don't want to be felted, you need an alternative.
And what is that alternative?
Well, the alternative is, there are several different processes that people have experimented with over the years. They figured out it's the scales, those nasty scales. They have to do something with them. So first they started gluing them down, and if you imagine like nail polish covering your fibers, and that didn't turn out so well. So more recently, they've developed a process where you quickly submerge the fibers in kind of an enzyme solution, and it nibbles off all the open ends of the scales so that when you dunk it in hot soapy water and agitate and it swells and swells, nothing sticks out that can get enmeshed with the other fibers.
Well, and of course that's happening on a microscopic level, much too small for us to actually see, but this is a washable wool, right?
Yes, this is an example of a machine washable wool. It's a very smooth, worsted spun 3-ply, and when I talk about worsted spun, what that means is that the fibers have been combed into alignment. All the short little nibby bits have been removed, so what you get is a very smooth, round, and steady piece of yarn.
Well, and I noticed that it's got really great stitch definition, I guess because it's so smooth.
It does, it does. It's a very round, it's like knitting with a felt tip pen. You know, so what you're going to get, it's beautiful stitch definition for stockinette. You're also going to have exquisite, like high definition for moss stitch, seed stitch, cables, anything like that. They really pop and stand out from the fabric.
And then I love this color swatch here because it's so crisp.
Isn't that fun? That's the other wonderful thing about most superwash wools, especially the worsted spun superwash wools, is that you get very, very clear stitch definition and color work. So if you wake up one day and you decide, I want to knit a replica of the Sistine Chapel as a bedspread, you can do it in a worsted spun yarn. A lot of them, they come in 20, 30, 40, 90 different shades. So you can get a lot of incredible detail out of this.
So how do, I mean, is there a special way to wash, you know, a washable wool, or is it really just?
Most people just toss them in the washing machine. It tends to be safer if you put them in front-loading washing machines because of the agitation movement. It's going like this to the water level versus in a regular washing machine where it's going slosh, 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 slosh.
Oh, I see.
So, but a lot of people, they just toss it in the washing machine. I would be cautious, even though you can put them in the dryer. I tend not to, just because it seems like it's undue duress on the fibers.
So you would just lay it flat?
Yeah, I would. Give it a nice rest.
And then we have just a couple other sort of examples of washable wool here. I like this one because, you know, you think of washable wool as being super refined, you know, or that very smooth kind of look to it. But
no, it can come in all sorts of different tweedy, heathered kind of effects. Basically, any fiber that you can treat to be machine washable, you can mix and blend different colors. You can create different twists and ply combinations. You can go from rustic to much more crisp and sophisticated, kind of Euro fashion. You can go anywhere that you want. It's basically, it's the underlying ingredient that's going to let you toss these in the washing machine.
So it's really anything that wool can do, washable wool can do, except felt.
That's right.